Hey, Martin, all the way
Hi,
from Battersea.
hi Owen, all the way from Charlton beaches.
You know what I found funny recently when we're doing podcasts with people is like how to introduce it. And I always find myself saying, hey, so and so, all the way from, they're usually in the USA.
hmm
So I feel like I need to rehearse or come up with some new introduction.
I just think you need to get straight to the point rather than thinking too much.
Actually, I was thinking about this, just asking
Mhm.
like the most insane question. The only thing is, I find it rattles people a little bit when you dive too far in, like too deep to start with. People are like, you're like, they need to warm up.
No, we are such a nice
It's
people
like
that they,
going
they
for the
will.
100-meter sprint when you with no warm up, you're going to pull a
Well,
hamstring.
there's no time for warm up during 100 meter sprint. You can do it before you start recording, but you can't do it once you record. I think we such a nice people that people will get warm up during the conversation
Ah,
very easily.
so where has October brought you?
Where has October brought me? Well, I'm only thinking right now about what we're doing next week, so probably difficult for me to get back to what happened in October. Um, but yeah, so we released a monumental super series. You managed to pull up very nice Patreon page there as well with some juicy stuff regarding subscriptions for reports. We have one AI report. There is another one coming as well, actually on Monumental and robotics. Yeah, what else? What else happened in October?
Yeah, monumental. Did we record the Speckle one in October? Wow, months go so fast when
I
you're having
think
fun. Or was it end of September? I think it was
I
end of
think it was the
September.
end of September.
But that will actually be coming out in 20th of November.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 3 weeks. 3 weeks to go till till we release that. But yeah, I think that we have been working on lining up the Suffolk Boost series, which we will be flying out to Boston on Sunday. And on Monday, we will be sitting down to do the next super series with Ediphi. So Dustin and Mike and team. And then on Tuesday, we'll be sitting down with some of the Boost cohort and finding out what those guys are up to.
And what is it? 5 startups, right? From the Boost.
5 startups. Yeah. And we will be diving into the problems those guys are solving and the solutions that they're building around it.
Which one are you most excited about from the Boost program?
Well, I've only spoken to 2. You spoke to the other 3. So out of the 2, I think it would be harsh to pick one I'm more excited about.
Well, obviously, all those that you spoke with.
Well,
okay, I understand. Okay.
I wouldn't
the
say
dilemma.
either of them are my favorite. There's some work to be done.
I can only say, as a structural engineer, I'm quite excited about Genya, I think. I'm not
Jenny,
sure.
yes, the AI
because
assisted.
there is someone who is trying to reduce the time spent on engineering design for repetitive things, which I would love to support as much as I can. There's a lot of time that we spend on really dumb things and just redoing things.
What's your thoughts?
Time and time again.
I suppose we can find out more. Do you think it's... are you excited for them? Are you skeptical? What's your sentiment toward
I'm actually
solution?
excited that someone is doing something in this, and I'm curious to explore till where they got with their thinking and how far they want to, how far they think about automating some processes within engineering design. I can't say, we spoke with Calc3, so it's this month actually, that is similar but different company, also automating within engineering. And I can't say that, I'm a fan of or they are the only one or anything like that, because I don't think I've seen, and I spoke with every startup in this space. But I'm just genuinely excited that people are doing something in this space, because I think there is a niche right now. We've got lots of software, which is legacy software that does a lot of stuff, but it's been done like that for the last 7, 15, and you put the number of years you want, and nothing has changed really. So I'm looking for real automation.
Yeah, similar to you, but perhaps not Boost, but kind of related to Suffolk, would be my excitement to speak to the guys at Ediphi. Because as a quantity surveyor, we obviously touch on the estimating role as part of what we do. And those guys are tackling the pre-construction estimating space. And I really think that in that area, there is real need for a good solution that will kind of blow out some of the incumbents. So I'm very excited to talk to Dustin and Mike and see what they have in plan and learn more about the system.
I agree.
I
was, let me just stay on this for a second. I was actually preparing for this, for meeting Dustin and Ediphi, and I was listening to some of podcasts he's done with someone else in the past, and I think he's really, really, really good, really good in as a founder, as a business person. What stuck in me was when he said, it's very easy to imagine where the future could be. It's very easy to see where the industry right now is, but it's difficult to create a path for the industry to get from where we are to where the vision is. And this is such a simple thing, but it is so true, really.
Connecting the dots.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to highlight a few things. So you mentioned the Patreon page. And one of the things that we just released this week, so that would be the week of, hey, I actually learned that in America or in the US that you should stay week of from the Sunday as opposed to what we do in the UK here, the Monday. So for the US listeners, week of 27th of October. For UK listeners, week of 28th of October. We released the AI report, which we have been working on for some time now. And I suppose it would be good to cover why we've done it and our thinking behind it. So we wanted to explore, or when we were speaking to certain companies within the construction tech space about subjects they would be interested in learning more on, AI in documentation management came up as one. And so what we thought or sought out to do was speak to 5 startups in the space which have a good reputation or good name within the industry. And so what we did is we structured like a kind of copy and paste interview for each of these startups to understand like their business model, the technology that goes into AI, the future of the industry, those kind of things. And then we put all of these findings into a report. And to add to that, we also spoke with Microsoft. So Ajoy, who used to work at Suffolk Construction. Wow, that name Suffolk has come up more times in this podcast than anyone else so far. He used to work there as I think he was like a director of technology and innovation, something along those lines, and now joined Microsoft. And he was kind of there was this sort of speak within the layer of the AI land that any solution that anyone is building to do with AI, Microsoft will just come and build it themselves. But his view was, no, that won't happen. And actually, Microsoft is more on the look for partners that might have good solutions as opposed to building these things themselves.
Yeah, they don't have inside knowledge, right?
No.
They have resources and generalists around them, but not insiders, I think.
Exactly. But then maybe that's why they have someone like Ajoy on their team to find out, get the inside scoop. So yeah, we spoke to those people and we put together a little bit of a report.
Do we mention who was the magician who helped us to put this together or not yet?
Oh yeah, of course. Shout out to Bragan for helping us to formulate the report.
Bragan from last week in Contact.
Exactly. And so just some key takeaways. I just to like quickly spiel over this. report. So I made some bullet points here. So 5 companies and Microsoft. These 5 companies, actually check out the report if you wanna find out who they are. Some stats. So around 6.5% of construction costs worldwide go down the drain due to document-related rework, and 50% of projects are over budget or late due to issues with contract compliance.
That's
It's a
interesting.
bold claim. I don't know how you can specifically
Quantify
marry two together, 50% overrun because of contract compliance, but we're just relaying what we've been told. And typically within AI world, you have two types of companies. You have rappers, like Eminem and 50 Cent and Dr. Dre. No, just kidding. Rappers is you didn't get it. Yeah. Oh dear.
I did, but it took me a second because I was actually reading something on this.
So you have rappers. So what a rapper is in like when you get a sweet, and inside that sweet is you have a wrapper outside of a sweet, and inside the wrapper is your sweet.
Thanks, Daddy.
Yeah. And basically what a rapper would do is take like a model like ChatGPT or Claude and then put like a construction friendly interface on the wrapper and say, oh, hey, we've built this amazing AI tool, but actually you're just a sort of copy and paste of ChatGPT, which is designed for construction. Then you have the true innovators. So these are people that are building an actual product within the AI space. So they're actually, an example of this would be like teaching artificial intelligence, to understand construction drawings, not just read them. So by understanding drawings, that would be understanding how like a section relates to an elevation or a plan, or detecting clashes between drawings and errors, like all things that humans would do, but an actual AI would do it. And this would be reflective of what true innovation is. So they were the two sort of findings that we come up with. And then the future of AI is really all around AI agents. And these are like small digital assistants that can handle very complex tasks. So,
less people, but more agents, which will automatically be able to get the task, hear the task, and deliver the task, handle complex tasks.
Yeah, and also understand it, right? Actually, like apply intelligence to it, not just automate. So actually think. Yeah, and then we went into implementation and whether people should consider building versus buying. So if you're thinking of building AI solutions in-house, then you need to consider things like maintenance, training costs, opportunity costs of putting your resource there.
Is it not the case that there is, so I saw again today, there's like a $40 billion valuation of another AI company. So don't you think that, what's the name? OpenAI valued at $150 billion, huge resources, huge talents. I think these people will be building these solutions, and I don't think there's anyone in the startup world like coming out of nowhere who can compete with this. You can probably take their intelligence and wrap it around your specific problem. So probably, I don't know what's the professional way of like putting this concept together, but perhaps it's a buying. It's a buying of the intelligence and then wrapping around your product around it. I don't know. What do you think?
So some people it varies. I think some people I've spoken to have said companies like the big incumbent companies like OpenAI, Anthropic, Perplexity, whoever it might be, these big names that come up in the AI space. People say that they just wouldn't have, or at least the companies I spoke to and some that appear in the report say that they just wouldn't necessarily have or be bothered to go into the depths and gather all of the data and knowledge that these construction companies models are trained on, because it's like very sector specific.
Yes.
So like they've got to go and get all the drawings, or they've got to go and get all the specifications, proposals, RFIs, blah, 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 blah. And companies like ChatGPT and also OpenAI and Anthropic just won't have access to that data. So whether that impacts things, I don't know. But this is just the sentiment I'm getting. But key thing, and we've discussed this on Bricks, Bucks, and Bytes a few times with any AI solution, is defensibility.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the number one question.
Yes, exactly. Defensibility. How defensible are you? Where in reality you've got large big behemoths which are fueled by billions of dollars, and they can adjust very quickly to adjusting reality of these language models and very quickly evolving technology. So I don't know, obviously, but it's an interesting concept. My gut feeling is telling me that the language models will come out of the large companies, and then locally we will adapt these language models and wrap them within our construction problems.
Quite possibly. Yeah, I do. I think there's two things that we discussed on Bricks, Bucks, and Bytes that investors might look at would be whether an AI company in the space has large distribution advantage.
Hey listeners, I want to take a quick break to remind you about the Bricks and Bytes newsletter. If you're interested in learning about the technology shaping the future of construction, you won't want to miss the valuable insights we share each week. To get this exclusive content delivered straight to your inbox, head over to www.bricks-bytes.com and sign up today. Link is in the show notes. Back to the show.
Whether companies that are building an AI in construction and AEC have a large distribution advantage.
Mm-hmm.
So can they get to their customers, or have they got better partnerships? Like, I don't know, the founder of company A may be very good friends with the top 50 contractors in the US, and whereby that relationship is going to facilitate perhaps use of their technology, but only up to a certain point. Because I still think as a business owner, if someone like OpenAI comes out, it's like, hey, we can do that solution, but it's $20 per month.
Yeah.
Like, well,
yeah. Oh, we were planning to charge you 0.1% of the project value.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What do you say to that?
Yeah. So
I honestly think, but like, who cares what I think? I don't know exactly as well, but I think that things will be and definitely should be much cheaper than they seem to be right now, just because how like 2 years ago, you didn't have Perplexity, you didn't have Notebook, LM, all of this stuff, right? How quickly can you right now do a research on it and prepare something reasonable?
Crazy.
It is insane. And it is also impossible to make any predictions like what will happen 2 years from now. So I think it's super exciting.
Yeah. I think you would have to be, if you're building an AI, you would have to be like really on top of the game to succeed, I think. And constantly, I mean, any tech really, you have to just have your one eye on the AI right now.
But still, there wasn't a conversation that people should not be building AI because these large companies, they are just faster, better, and they have more capital to build. So I think people are wasting time when they trying to build like AI model. When they raise $4 million.
On the flip side, I don't know if you ever lurk around on Twitter, but you have all these like internet gurus saying, you can make $100,000 per month by selling AI tools to enterprises. Here's how I did it. Buy my course.
Yeah, buy my course for $99.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that's the report.
This is called Western marketing, by the way. Anyway.
What was your favorite episode from October?
What was my favorite episode? Okay, from October. Do we also mention a lady we spoke with 2 days ago or not?
Yeah, that was recorded. It will be released in November, but
right? So I've got two. One is Maria, and another one is Amar.
Mm-hmm.
What
Why?
about you? Well, Amar, I kind of fall in love with his thoughts when I met him on the stage in London Next Build.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he was brilliant. He had a brilliant presentation, and he's done the presentation with us as well on the podcast. Why? Because he is very, very good in understanding space he's at in terms of the design, and also being in the founder's shoes. His advice on the presentation and during our conversation was very convincing. That's all I can say.
He had 27 years at Autodesk, I think, and was co-CEO, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that we released a very interesting one, and these episodes get hits about why companies go bust.
Yeah, we need to do some more research on those, right?
Yeah. So we released one with Anthony Buckley Thorpe, who is Chief Product Officer at Building Radar, which is also another really company that I've fallen in love with this past month. But he used to work for a company called Flux, and Flux was born out of Google X. I think it was like the first company to come out of Google X. And they raised over 30 million. I couldn't find the exact numbers, but they raised over $30 million, and couldn't. They had a superstar team. They had like the backing from Google. They had plenty of funding, and their plan was to tackle the data interoperability within the AEC space, so people could share their data across like design, engineering, and construction. And think about this: they had 10,000 users at one point, and they couldn't monetize them, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think. Well, and they obviously went bust, right?
Yeah. I think I'm not sure they completely crashed and burned. I think they got bought, or they changed, pivoted direction or something along those lines.
See, this is the thing, right? When I know that the startups, well, it's not my wisdom, but startups, there's a common wisdom that they shouldn't be profitable, they should be growing, etc. But if you don't think through exact way of monetizing your product or service, then you might be in the situation of Flux, right? That I don't know their circumstances inside out, but having 10,000 users and not being able to monetize is like WTF. Yeah. Yeah. Like why? What went wrong? Like didn't they think about it, or or what? Yeah.
But on your point on profitability, I mean, people are still generating revenue, right? They're just not profitable because the profits are reinvested back to growth.
Yeah. So I guess if people are growing and they could be profitable, but they decided to grow, I think that's fine. But if there is no substance and they are just growing without having something that people can pay you money for, then like what's the point of this growth, right?
Well, maybe we should dive into some of the lessons or some of the things I learned from Flux's journey. They had 10,000 users. They had a freemium model, so people could use the software free. But as soon as they tried to charge their users, the users are like, "Well, we thought this should have been free," so no one was willing to pay. I don't know what you can learn from that. Maybe don't give away your product for free. I mean, a lot of people have told me this recently.
But I think speaking with Speckle, because they have similar product, or
lots of people do it. Lots of people do it.
Yeah, so to a degree, I can understand they have similar product, but they said that they've learned a lesson based on Flux that they will not commit the same mistakes as Flux, so that there was a lesson really. But I think is Speckle charging people, or they are thinking about it right now,
They
right?
are now. Yeah. It's part of their Series A is to now monetize, right? So they built their community, they built their customer base. I guess like probably a similar kind of landscape to where Flux was, but I mean they're thinking about it much more strategically, and obviously with the lessons learned from Flux, because I believe that I'm pretty sure Dimitri and Matteo both work at Flux. Definitely one of them.
No. Dimitri was almost. Sorry, Matteo was almost hired by Flux.
Correct, you're right.
Dimitri wanted to give up Speckle because he heard about Flux, but it didn't happen.
There we go then.
Yeah.
Also, something I know that you will love is that within the product itself, so it was based around people sharing data, but people actually didn't want to share data due to liability issues. So, for example, if you share data and something is wrong, then people are going to come after you and claim. And that kind of goes, it's like the construction industry 101, right? It's like the manufacturing drawings that are not for manufacture because there might be something wrong on the drawing.
Yes, that's, I don't know intricacies of this problem, the liability issues in this particular case. But when you're designing your product, like you should be thinking about it. Okay, how the industry is currently working, what's the contractual requirements between parties, so that your product doesn't trigger this liability issue, or it's kind of mitigated to some degree. Yes. I mean, it's always easy to say post factum.
Of course, hindsight is complete 2020 vision, right? Also, just another point of Flux was that selling to the wrong person. So this is something that comes up in our discussions quite a bit, was you have users and you have buyers, right? So they have 10,000 users, but I don't know, maybe no buyers. No one in that user base had the authority to buy. Maybe no one is a strong word, but obviously a very small percentage of the user base had authority to actually buy the product. So,
and this is brilliant actually, because like having a product that you are selling to the industry, for example, designers, you need to make them fall in love with this product. It needs to be better, which is kind of obvious. Why would someone switch if what you're providing is not 10 times better? There's one thing, one person that you need to make fall in love with you or your product. But on the other side, you've got the purchasing manager, the CFO, who needs to be equally pleased with this solution. And I guess the third part of this whole equation is, how does your product integrate with other software stack that the company is currently using? Yeah?
What does the CFO want? I'm not sure we've explored that.
Was the CFO what?
What does he want? A reduction in cost or increase in revenue?
CFO? I think they have to work together with people who are distributing the software within the organization to make sure that, okay, we're going to save 100K a month, but we will generate, at 500 hours a month of IT support to make it all working together. So I think they want to have reliable piece of software that can be, it's just cheaper, I think. Yeah.
Good. I also wanted to raise another episode, which was just absolutely amazing. So on Bit Builders, our robotics podcast, Gabe is pulling the strings.
Best of the best.
Yeah, pulling the best of the best with one of the latest episodes that came out with Lee Rosen from Think Orbital. And I think Gabe put a good post out. It was something like, not often a podcast starts with, I was showing Barack Obama and Elon Musk around a launch pad in Florida or wherever they were. Cape Canaveral, I think, was the place. So I thought that was pretty cool. But I'm actually enjoying exploring the space episodes because it feels like the tangible. Maybe I mentioned this on a podcast before, but it feels like if you think of construction, it feels like construction on Earth, great. Construction in space is like the next step, right? So we've been exploring that a little bit on
Well,
Bit Builders.
I will be a little bit like bucket of the cold water here, which is I think we first need to figure out how to build stuff on the ground rather than. But that's where the progress comes from, right? Usually from this type of technologies, which then they are transferred onto the.
Yeah, like take for example, launching into space now. It's almost like a Ford. I'm exaggerating massively now, but I don't know. Daily, there's launches, probably more. Like launching into space is so cheap now, and even I think in the last few weeks, you can repeat launches because they're able to catch the rockets.
Did you see the rocket that is kind of like coming down and it's kind of landing?
Yeah.
On the like a structural tower, and then it can take off again.
Yeah. So I think to your point, by pushing the boundaries of the technology, maybe that will have an impact on more tangible industries like construction on Earth. Or maybe we're just so fucked up as a species that we just need to get out of it ASAP.
No. You're talking like Joe Rogan now.
But yeah, Think Optal, what they do, they call it the product that they're building is they call it an in-space construction toolkit, which is essentially a robotic. Yeah, it's a robotic arm, and it facilitates welding in space and inspection. So it allows space to kind of clean up the debris that exists, like in the I don't want to use a scientific word, but atmosphere, stratosphere. I don't know where the right one is. Somewhere above where we live. And also it's like the enablement of building large structures in space. So, interesting company.
Yeah. But on the theme of robots in construction, like one of the points higher up on the list that we spoke about was 50% of projects over budget or due to issues with contract compliance, right? Where does the contract compliance come from? There is probably someone problems with contract compliance. There's probably someone late with something, or there's some piece of element that has not arrived to the site in the right time, and this is blocking someone else, and the whole supply management gets fucked. Probably this is one of the reasons. I think about it now. If we manage to automate construction process using robotics and more reliable way of assembling things, and more predictable way of building things, this statistics probably would go down, right? Because you effectively get more reliable way of building stuff, less dependent on people and mistakes and rework. So
my thoughts are that your view is very optimistic. What I think will happen in reality is people will catch wind and they will start changing the contracts around. So there's a way to like
to human ingenuity.
Yeah, because take for example Monumental Robotics. When we were speaking with them, I was so blown away and amazed at when I asked them the question of like, how do you get paid? And they're able to track the brick like to the location it is on Earth, the pitch that it was installed, the number of bricks. Like there's so much data available that as someone who is valuing that work, so the quantity surveyor, I don't know what the American equivalent is of the person that goes out, checks, certifies the amount of money due to the contractor each month. They can't argue with this data, right?
No,
because it's backed up.
It's factual.
It's factual.
Yeah.
But sometimes too much information is not good, because the person valuing the works may have ulterior motives, or they may be that they.
Oh, that's fraud. That's you're talking about something different.
A lot of money.
That's about human error, human not mental disorder, but morality disorder kind of
But
thing, right?
I'm pretty sure we talked about this last month. How much money is made from claims within construction?
Well, but with more reliable, like supply chains, assembly, installation, you can predict things better, and you can reduce this number of claims, right? Like Elon Musk, I'm just saying something. Elon Musk 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I listened to one of the podcasts, and he was talking about insurance, right? What's the best way to underwrite car insurance? And the best way is to basically have a device in your car which will track every single move you make in real time, and it will assess how good driver you are, and then based on that you will have your quote for the insurance. I think that's super fair. Most of us will have to think twice how we drive.
But where's more money made? Not in that solution.
No, but you getting like better society, better roads, better calmer roads, less accidents, this kind of stuff, right? So in the end of the day, it is for good. I
agree. But what stops?
Right.
Okay, so these big construction companies, right? You have a robotic solution, and you're about to sell it to the site, and then they put out the contract and like, yeah, we want to use the robotics, but here's a 600-page contract, and in one small clause in that contract, it says we will not accept data produced by the robot as a valuation method.
Well, so that means that someone is not agreeing to objectively evaluate work, okay? Which means that they have their morality is probably not in the right position.
But this is the way the industry works. So,
well, it will have to adjust.
I don't know. We could stew on this for ages, but yeah,
they will not be able
believe
to
it when I see
we've been doing it for the last 25 years, because in the end of the day, the tech is to make things cheaper, make it faster, more reliable, and that's what it will happen to at some point to.
I hope so.
The industry.
Anyway,
okay, so have you done your personality test or not yet?
Excuse me. I actually know my personality type is ENFJ, which is a protagonist. Did you do this one? This is the what do they call it? Higgs. Oh no! Now I'm going to be caught out.
Yeah, Higgs. I think.
No. It is
one.
It's a type of test. I actually don't know what it's called, but yeah, it's a type of test, personality test, a very popular one. And yeah, ENFJ. How about you?
Well, I've done different one. Well, I think we need to have a uniform set of comparable data.
Yeah.
To compare these.
Do it for next time.
Yeah. Okay,
just to end on some bright news then. So AEC and construction tech funding. I think we discussed this a couple of weeks ago on Bricks, Bucks and Bytes, just very briefly. So a couple of stats that came out of that episode is the sector now represents 0.8% of total VC funding. So that's up from 0.2 to 0.3% pre-2021. So double/triple-ish of the total landscape. And also total cumulative funding are now at 35 billion, which is roughly triple the 2019 level. So it's hotting up out there. I think the quality of companies, quality of people entering the industry is going to increase as those numbers continue to rise. So exciting time to be involved.
And Patrick said that this can go up to 2%, more or less, as as a comparable ratio with other industries, which means that there's still quite a lot to go. One of the things he meant, because they made a post on LinkedIn about this, and one of the interesting things that I read there was that there's no activity within IPO market in construction technology. And I'm just trying to see if he responded to my comment. Is it good or bad? Because I'm not sure. What do you think? IPO in construction
What is
tech?
well, whether there will be IPOs?
No, there's no activity within like initial public offering market so no construction companies did IPO in the last quarter. I think that was his message.
I didn't honestly pay too much attention to that, so can't comment.
No, he's not responded. Okay.
What was the response?
Oh, he has not responded.
Okay. We'll find out. We'll find out
on Friday.
You have to now. You're on record saying it.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well,
oh no, sorry. There was quite a unicorn scene, what he said. So that probably means that companies have not, mistake, quiet unicorn scene, which means that no new companies which have gone, which are private and are of $1 billion valuation, right? That's the definition of unicorn. Yeah, we learned something.
Yeah. I actually did read something similar there. There was a load of VC companies that are reaching significant valuation numbers, but not substantial enough for like a good exit.
What is substantial?
Substantial? I can't remember the numbers. I think it was like in the hundreds of millions. I can't remember the specifics.
Yeah, who we spoke with who like sold for 275. I think two people sold for 275. Dustin and someone else, right?
So Lucas from O11H, he sold his initial e-commerce.
Oh, half a billion, yes. But someone else sold.
I don't know. Feels like we're not qualified enough to have an in-depth discussion about these kind of subjects. Okay, mine.
Which is fine.
I will see you on Sunday at Heathrow Airport.
You will see me there. Okay.
Okay. Adios.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.